So I've come here today to the heart of Europe to say that the United States and the entire world needs a strong and prosperous and democratic and united Europe. And perhaps you need an outsider, somebody who's not European, to remind you of the magnitude of what you have achieved. The progress that I described was made possible in large measure by ideals that originated on this continent in a great enlightenment and the founding of new republics. Of course, that progress didn't travel a straight line. In the last century, twice in just 30 years, the forces of empire and intolerance and extreme nationalism consumed this continent. And cities like this one were largely reduced to rubble. Tens of millions of men and women and children were killed. But from the ruins of the Second World War, our nation set out to remake the world, to build a new international order and the institutions to uphold it. A United Nations to prevent another world war and advance a more just and lasting peace. International financial institutions like a World Bank and an International Monetary Fund to promote prosperity for all peoples. A universal declaration of human rights to advance the inalienable rights of all members of the human family. And here in Europe, giants like Chancellor Adenauer set out to bind old adversaries through commerce and through trade. As Adenauer said in those early days, European unity was a dream of a few. It became a hope for the many. Today, it is a necessity for all of us. And it wasn't easy. Old animosities had to be overcome. National pride had to be joined with a commitment to a common good. Complex questions of sovereignty and burden sharing had to be answered. And at every step, the impulse to pull back, for each country to go its own way, had to be resisted. More than once, skeptics predicted the demise of this great project. But the vision of European unity soldiered on. And having defended Europe's freedom in war, America stood with you every step of this journey. A Marshall Plan to rebuild, an airlift to save Berlin, a NATO alliance to defend our way of life. America's commitment to Europe was captured by a young American president, John F. Kennedy, when he stood in a free West Berlin and declared that freedom is indivisible. And when one man is enslaved, all are not free. With strength and resolve and the power of our ideals and a belief in a unified Europe, we didn't simply end the Cold War, freedom won. Germany was reunited. You welcomed new democracies into an even ever closer union. You may argue over whose football clubs are better, vote for different singers on Eurovision, but your accomplishment, more than 500 million people speaking 24 languages in 28 countries, 19 with a common currency, in one European Union, remains one of the greatest political and economic achievements of modern times. Yes, European unity can require frustrating compromise. It adds layers of government that can slow decision-making. I understand. I've been in meetings with the European Commission. And as an American, we're famously disdainful of government. We understand how easy it must be to vent at Brussels and complain. But remember that every member of your union is a democracy. That's not an accident. Remember that no EU country has raised arms against another. That's not an accident. Remember that NATO is as strong as it's ever been. Remember that our market economies, as Angela and I saw this morning, are the greatest generators of innovation and wealth and opportunity in history. Our freedom, our quality of life remains the envy of the world. So much so that parents are willing to walk across deserts, cross the seas on makeshift rafts, risk everything in the hope of giving their children the blessings that you enjoy, blessings that you cannot take for granted. This continent in the 20th century was at constant war. People starved on this continent. Families were separated on this continent. And now people desperately want to come here precisely because of what you've created. You can't take that for granted. And today, more than ever, a strong, united Europe remains, as Adnar said, a necessity for all of us. It's a necessity for the United States because Europe's security and prosperity is inherently indivisible from our own. We can't cut ourselves off from you. Our economies are integrated. Our cultures are integrated. Our peoples are integrated. You saw the response of the American people to Paris and Brussels. It's because in our imaginations, this is our cities. A strong, united Europe is a necessity for the world because an integrated Europe remains vital to our international order. Europe helps to uphold the norms and rules that can maintain peace and promote prosperity around the world. Consider what we've done in recent years, pulling the global economy back from the brink of depression and putting the world back on the path of recovery. A comprehensive deal that's cut off every single one of Iran's paths to a nuclear bomb, part of a shared vision of a world without nuclear weapons. In Paris, the most ambitious agreement in history to fight climate change. Stopping Ebola in West Africa, saving countless lives. Rallying the world around new sustainable development, including our goal to end extreme poverty. None of those things could have happened if the United States did not have a partnership with a strong and united Europe. They wouldn't have happened. That's what's possible when Europe and America and the world stand as one.